Almost 2 years ago, I recorded myself opening my first 3D printer, and at the time, I didn't know what I was doing with the printer. I didn't even know what I was doing with the camera either. But for some reason, I had this feeling that I should record it because maybe my future self would want to come back to this moment. And well, here we are. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Chris, and today I wanted to go back to one of the earliest moments of me getting into 3D printing. So this was December 2024 when my girlfriend gave me my first Bambu Lab printer for Christmas. And instead of doing a review or breaking down all the technical stuff, I really just wanted to talk about what that experience felt like. Because looking back at this footage now, I can see that I was learning several things at once. I was trying to understand a printer, I was experimenting with a new camera, I was learning more about filmmaking and how I wanted to document my life, and I really didn't know where I was going with any of it. At that point, I had recently moved to Texas and I knew I wanted something creative that I could do with my hands. I already enjoyed making videos, streaming, taking pictures, and putting thumbnails together, but most of that happened behind a screen. But with 3D printing, I can watch something become real and then actually hold it afterward. I can even use my hands to tinker with the printer itself to fix any of the problems that come up too. That was a completely different feeling for me. And I have to shout out my boy John too, because he was someone that talked to me about 3D printing and introduced it to me in the first place. He would tell me about what he was making and what the printers could do. So that definitely stayed in the back of my mind. When I finally got everything set up, I didn't sit there trying to find the first perfect model. I didn't know about what websites people use. I didn't really understand slicing or settings yet. I just wanted to see something get printed. That was it. There was already a file loaded onto the machine itself, which was a garbage bag holder, and I basically said, hey, let's just go ahead and print that. I just wanted the excitement of seeing this machine make something. And I remember watching these first layers go down. It was such a simple object, but I just couldn't stop looking at it. The printer would move back and forth, another layer would appear, and slowly I would actually tell what it was becoming. It was like, wait, I can pick something, send it over to the printer, and eventually there's a real object sitting in front of me. And I thought that was so cool. After that, I started printing all kinds of random things. I made a mail holder, I printed stands for my gaming gear, I even made little gifts for my girlfriend. At this stage, I wasn't worried about whether everything was worth printing. I was learning what the printer could do and what I enjoyed making out of it. And I think people who have been printing for a while can probably relate to that. When you first get one, suddenly everything looks printable. What really made the hobby stick though was when I started realizing that I can make things that help me around the apartment. Organization and staying on task has always been a big struggle for me. So being able to notice a problem and think, maybe I can print something for that was a big deal for me. I created a holder, a stand, something that gives an item its own place. It didn't have to be some huge invention. It could just be something small. And while the printer was working, I could step away and do something else. I could edit, I could take pictures, I could work on another idea. And then I would come back later and see that this object had slowly been building itself while I was gone. Even now, I still think that process is really interesting. Looking back, I think 3D printing gave me another reason to create. It gave me things to photograph, it gave me more ideas for videos, it pushed me to practice using my camera, and eventually gave me the opportunity to make things for other people too. I didn't know any of that when I recorded this video. I wasn't opening the box and thinking, this is going to be part of a business one day. I was just simply excited to try something new, but I think part of me knew the beginning was worth saving. That's probably what I appreciate the most about this footage now. It shows me before I understood any of it, before I had all these prints around the apartment, before I started thinking about selling them, before I began sharing more of this process online. It reminds me of how exciting something can feel when it's completely new. And I'm glad I didn't wait until I knew exactly what I was doing before I started recording, because then I wouldn't have this very first moment to share with you. So I'm curious, for those who already own a 3D printer, what was the very first thing you printed? Was it something useful, or was it just the first random file you could find because you wanted to see the machine work? And for anyone who hasn't started yet, what would be the first thing you would want to make? Let me know in the comments, because I really want to see what everybody's first experience was like. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for taking the time to look back at this memory with me. And if you enjoyed watching somebody learn 3D printing, photography, filmmaking, and everything else that comes along with it, consider subscribing. All right, everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!